Show the people the power of Excalibur! I said take it, King. Raise that sword!
Shawn.
What's going on, man? All right, so it's King Arthur. Why'd you decide to tackle this? There've been so many movies, so many stories, TV shows. Why did you want to do your version?
I suppose because sort of stars aligned and the nature of movie making has changed. So it allowed us to thin out the story, so you can follow the story, you can put the story, you can some of the other characters into another movie. So you can follow a beginning, a middle, and an end. Visual effects are there now, and I don't suppose there's been a time where you could have pulled it off in the way that you can put it off now, and I felt as though I could give a fresh take to it anyway. So there was all sorts of reasons why I felt we could deliver something fresh.
What about this character appeals to you personally?
Really, it's a story about every man's ascension, and it's not necessarily, you know, there's a literal way of seeing it. A kid comes from the street and then ascends to the throne. But I think there's another way of seeing it, and that's our evolution as people. A man starts off his journey completely dependent on his environment, his parents and everything else, and then as he ascends, he should become more and more independent. In the end, where he should be able to derive his entire sense of self from himself and not from others. And I suppose that's a sort of metaphor for the story, and I think that's pertinent to everyone. So to answer your question, I think that's as pertinent to me as it is to everyone else.
All right, what's changed with your filmmaking style when you first began till now when you shot King Arthur?
It's hard to tell, actually. It's very hard to sort of be objective about your style as a filmmaker. You only do what you feel comfortable doing. So you know, you put one foot in front of the other, and then to analyze is kind of almost impossible because you can't really be objective.
Right. All right, this film looks gorgeous. I got to find out from you, where'd you shoot the film, and then tell me what was one of your favorite locations where you shot and why?
I'm a big fan of the UK anyway, and what I really liked about this was it gave me an alibi as to end up going around that whole of the UK. So I suppose Wales is probably the most underrated of all of those places. It's like a small Scotland, but it's like 3 hours away from London. So you got all the mountains and you've got all the crystal clear rivers and whatnot. So Wales is probably my favourite place.
How challenging was it? Because I mean, it looks like it was like a really, I don't know if I'm using the correct terminology, but it looked like a really aggressive shoot.
Well, funny enough, it wasn't really. It's just, well, depending on what you mean by aggressive, but I mean, making movies is, from my point of view, a bit of a fantasy, and you keep reliving the fantasy. So I really enjoyed doing it. So, and I think that's the principal component, as long as you like doing it. The thing is, I only like shooting 5 days a week, and there are certain actors that like shooting 7 days a week, and I'll tell you, we would not get on well together. So as long as it's 5 days a week, I'm your man for, you know, a good many months of the year. But the old 7 day a week nonsense is not for me.
Come on.